As we get older, especially after we pass 60, our bodies, well, they change. Sleep often becomes lighter, and our systems can feel a bit more fragile. The thing is, many of us just keep the same bedtime habits we've had for years, and we don't realize that some of them might be quietly putting our health, and maybe even our lives, at risk.
Let me tell you about a man named George. He was 74, and he thought his bedtime routine was perfectly normal. He'd wake up in the night, stand up quickly, and head to the bathroom in the dark. But one of those times, that simple trip led to a fall. That one fall resulted in a fractured hip and 3 long, painful weeks in a hospital bed. His story, sadly, isn't unique, and it serves as a powerful warning for all of us. George's experience really shines a light on a much bigger issue. It shows how these seemingly harmless little habits, when you combine them with the natural changes of aging, can have absolutely devastating consequences. So let's explore exactly what those are. Look at this number, over 70,000. According to the CDC, that's how many older adults in the US alone die in their sleep each year. And what's truly heartbreaking is that many of these deaths can be traced right back to simple preventable mistakes. That's why understanding these mistakes is so absolutely crucial, so we can avoid them. So in this explainer, we're going to walk through 7 of these silent but very serious mistakes. We'll look at your food and fluid habits, we'll talk about your sleep environment, how you wake up, and some important warning signs. We'll even cover your medication. And most importantly, we're going to talk about one small change you can make tonight for a much safer tomorrow. First up, let's look at a couple of mistakes that have to do with what we put into our bodies before bed. Believe me, these habits can directly affect not just the quality of your sleep, but your safety as well. I'm sure you've thought this before, right? It's just a glass of water. What's the big deal? And you're right. We all know how important hydration is. But as we get older, drinking water at the wrong time can actually turn a healthy habit into a pretty serious risk. Here's why. As we age, our kidneys tend to become a little less efficient, and our bladder capacity can decrease. This means more frequent trips to the bathroom at night. Now, each trip interrupts that deep, restorative sleep that your brain and heart desperately need. And even more importantly, it dramatically increases the risk of a fall in a dark, quiet house, just like what happened to George. So the key is not to stop drinking water. Of course not. It's about timing it correctly. A good rule of thumb is to get most of your hydration, about 70 to 80%, in during the morning and afternoon. Then after 7 p.m., just take small sips if you're feeling thirsty. And always, always make sure the path from your bed to the bathroom is clear and well lit with a few night lights. Now for our second big mistake, eating late at night. A little snack before bed might seem perfectly harmless, but after age 60, our metabolism really slows down. Eating late forces your digestive system to work overtime, right when your body is supposed to be powering down for repair and rest. And the consequences of this can be quite serious. Lying down right after eating can cause painful acid reflux. For seniors, this can sometimes lead to very serious complications. Late-night meals can also cause your blood sugar to spike and prevent that natural dip in blood pressure that's supposed to happen at night, which forces your heart to work harder all night long. Okay, let's move on to your actual sleep environment. Where you sleep and how you sleep can have such a profound impact on your health, especially on how your heart and brain function during the night. Now, this is really interesting. A lot of us think that sleeping on our back is the best position, but for older adults, it can actually be risky. It allows your tongue to fall back, which can narrow your airway and reduce the oxygen getting to your brain and heart. On the other hand, sleeping on your left side is what most experts recommend. It actually improves circulation, helps prevent acid reflux, and even supports the brain's natural waste clearing process while you sleep. And this number here highlights our next mistake, 30%. If you're sleeping in a room that's too warm, say over 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 24 Celsius, you can lose up to 30% of your restorative deep sleep. See, your body needs to cool down to get into that deep rest, and a warm room just prevents that from happening. The solution here is really simple. Just aim for a cool room, ideally somewhere between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. Try switching out any heavy blankets for lighter, more breathable fabrics like cotton or linen, and maybe use a fan to keep the air moving. It's a small adjustment that can really make a world of difference. All right, now we need to cover 2 very critical areas: the simple physical act of getting out of bed and the warning signs your body might be giving you during sleep, signs that you should never, ever ignore. This might sound like a complicated medical term, but it's really the culprit behind a lot of nighttime falls. It's just the official name for that sudden drop in blood pressure when you stand up too quickly. When you do that, gravity pulls blood down to your legs, and you get that dizzy, lightheaded feeling. For older adults, whose circulatory reflexes can be a bit slower, this is a major risk for falls. So, to prevent this, please never just jump out of bed. Instead, try this simple routine. After you wake up, just lie still for about 10 seconds. Then, slowly roll to your side and use your arms to push yourself up into a sitting position. Take a few deep breaths and only stand up when you feel completely steady. This just gives your body a moment to adjust. Now, this next number is pretty alarming. Untreated sleep apnea can increase your risk of having a stroke by up to 60%. And I want to be very clear, this condition, where your breathing repeatedly stops and starts while you sleep, is so much more than just loud snoring. You have to pay close attention to your body's distress signals. If you're dealing with loud, persistent snoring, if you find yourself gasping for air, or if a loved one tells you that you actually stop breathing, these are serious medical red flags. It means your brain and your heart are being deprived of oxygen all night long. This is not a normal part of getting older, and it's something you must discuss with your doctor. And finally, let's talk about a mistake so many people make without ever realizing it: taking medications at the wrong time. What's most important here isn't just what medication you take, but when you take it. You see, as we age, our bodies process medications more slowly, so taking certain drugs like sleep aids, muscle relaxants, or even some blood pressure medications too close to bedtime can impair your alertness, suppress your breathing, or cause your blood pressure to drop too low while you sleep. This is why it is absolutely vital that you talk with your doctor about the best time to take every single one of your medications.
I know we've just covered a lot of information, and it might even feel a bit overwhelming, but here's the good news. You don't have to fix everything all at once. The journey to safer sleep really does begin with a single step. You know, true wellness isn't about some massive, difficult overhaul. It's built on small, consistent, intentional choices. So just choose one habit from everything we've talked about that really stood out to you. Maybe it's adjusting your room temperature tonight. Or maybe it's just pausing for those 10 seconds before you get out of bed. So I'll leave you with this one question. What is the one small, simple change that you will make tonight to protect your health, your independence, and your future? That single choice could truly be the most important one you make all day.